What difficulty do you guys regularly play? I have a Prestige 4 Sniper that I can barely do Ruthless Substantial difficulty with. Okay. This is this is a wild start to this because I have a lot of questions. But like nothing that's going to solve this issue like right from the rip. I do want to know what they're using at the very least, I guess. The difficulties have a level suggestion, but it seems to me that enemies start taking 50% of your HP in one shot, even on average substantial, and will still lose the game to Hive Tyrant or any hard event regularly in pubs. All right, so they're not using purification. Yeah, this makes sense. Dude, yeah, if you're Prestige 4, if you're leveled up Sniper, Squad Renewal, Purification, boom, you're good. But okay, Hive Tyrant, lose the game to the Hive Tyrant on average substantial. This is unfortunate. This is unfortunate. I feel like this is definitely a practice thing. I mean, obviously, if they weren't using purification, they're definitely missing out on a huge tool that allows Sniper to perform well in higher difficulties. The main reason I die is because I can never find enough Meta-K, and the only way to clear a wound is to get full HP, so I end up making like one or two mistakes at the start, then have to do the whole map being one shot. It is really unforgiving. I think they're playing in Ruthless or something. I don't see how you can get one shot in average. And substantial, maybe. Just wondering if anyone else has had this game be way harder than they thought. It would be because I played Souls-like games, and I can honestly say this is harder than those even being over-leveled. Ooh. This post has a lot in it. Okay. Now, the difficulty compared to Souls games, I think it's a little bit different. I feel like sometimes with Souls games, it's like knowledge can really carry you a far way, but it also, like, knowledge also includes enemy placement. And that's a huge part of Souls games, is just knowing where certain enemies are and stuff like that. As far as like the actual combat part, this game throws a lot at you. This game throws more at you than Souls games. As far as like just mobbing, 100%. This game is 99% mobbing, and it's aggressive mobbing with a lot of different combinations that can be very puzzling. However, here's the thing: they're not playing absolute. They're not playing lethal. I would like assume when it comes to extremist spawns on substantial, maybe you'll see what, one or two, something like that. Honestly, also, by the way, the game is super fun at average substantial ruthless level. I was doing some, leveling on console because I have lower level characters on console. On PC, everything's pretty much Prestige 4, besides Vanguard, which is. I'm just gonna work on that on console. Anyway, it's really fun. The game seriously does surprise me though at some points where it's like, wow, if I wasn't like fully leveled, or not fully leveled, or like at least knowing what I was doing, I had relic weapons and substantial average. I definitely can join an operation in lower difficulties with an advantage, and. Sometimes I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty surprising. I don't think that my teammates would have been able to get out of this situation alive if I didn't have a relic power sword that was power whirling all over the place or something. But yeah, ultimately, I think still a large portion of the player base are seemingly enjoying some of these average substantial ruthless operations. It seems like a lot of people in the comment section here has definitely mentioned that they are more likely to play some of these lower difficulties. So I kind of want to see what the reason is. And as far as this original post here, they're not using purification, right? They're just not using purification. They should probably use squad renewal purification. But they did say Prestige 4 Sniper, so honestly, it doesn't even matter. It does not matter what difficulty you even play on right now. You have a Prestige 4 Sniper. That's pretty sick. So, I mean, eventually, you will be curious enough to try out the higher difficulties. But yeah, let's see some of the problems with that kind of get ironed out. But yeah, let's jump into the comments here. Let's see how people are enjoying the other difficulties, and let's also see if people are playing Absolute 2.0 at all. Level 25, Prestige 4, across all classes, and I regularly play Team Ruthless and Lethal, solo with bots, Ruthless and Lethal. Okay, yeah, that's definitely enjoyable. I did a solo with bots recently. True Solo Ruthless. Dude, yeah, I should definitely try out some True Solo. I might jump into Ruthless first. I kind of wanted to jump into Siege Mode solo to see if I can get through Wave 5. I'm pretty sure I can, but I have heard some horror stories about solo Siege, because if you go down at all, like, you don't have anyone to pick you up, right? So it's pretty interesting. I definitely will be dabbling in that as soon as I kind of level up on my classes and stuff. I'm honestly still enjoying just trying out some of the reworked perks and everything. As far as like what the game is offering, if you can connect consistently, which is nice, there's a lot of good stuff that is going on with some of these classes that I feel like I haven't really tried out much, but it's kind of unfortunate that we've been focusing more on like bugs and stuff, but still I'm definitely excited to jump back into siege mode when it is more stable. I have been doing waves 1 through 15 though, so if I can get a quick run into siege mode, I'll see how it goes. You know, I still have a lot of fun with it. It's uncapped combat in this game feels very good. It's just not stable at the moment, it seems. I played enough old Absolute to earn my cosmetic ordeal points and decided it wasn't to my taste. Okay, so they basically did Absolute to earn my cosmetic ordeal points. I see, yeah. It's, the way they mention this is it feels like they only did cosmetics for ordeals, as in the ordeal cosmetics. I'm not too sure if they got like the survivor helm. They probably did, right? I mean, they said I played enough old Absolute to, yeah, so they probably, yeah, they definitely have their Absolute shoulder pad. But I've gotten a heck of a lot better since then, and I'm currently dipping my toe into the new Absolute and finding it not quite as bad as the hype, as long as I queue with a decent team. Yeah, dude, honestly, when it comes to Absolute 2.0, I'm having a great time with it. When you are with a decent team, it's not that difficult. A lot of people, as you can see with this post specifically, a lot of people are definitely kind of avoiding Absolute 2.0 if they have doubts, which is nice because that still leaves some content for them to enjoy in the future as soon as they get comfortable with the trials and tribulations of Absolute 2.0. Eventually they will definitely have the knowledge and the setup for it. But yeah, dude, honestly, just enjoying the game at your own pace. It feels really good in that way because there's always something new to learn or at least get better with. Right now, I'm getting a lot better with reading the UI. Basically, just trying to know when my teammates have armor or not is definitely very important now. Honestly, man, this sub is for everyone, and don't feel weird about struggling because a heck of a lot of us did in the beginning. I mean, dude, yeah, Absolute 2.0, I've been seeing a lot of struggle. I've been doing a lot of struggling in Absolute 2.0, but I've definitely been able to get some really good runs in with some really good teammates. I'm not a video game guy. I'm an older 50, if you can believe it, tabletop 40K player who literally bought a PS5 just to play Space Marine 2. Holy cow, that's dope. Man, if you are reading this, I definitely recommend PS5 Pro for Space Marine 2 if you can figure that out. It's very, very worth it. But also, I didn't have a PS5 when I got a Pro, so I can understand where it kind of feels like you're just buying the same thing again. I definitely understand that. My friends say the same thing, and I can see the point. But yeah, I didn't have a PS5, so I was like, if I get one, I might as well just get a Pro, so I got lucky on that. I have no problem admitting I sucked at this game for the first few months, just the lower difficulties, and you feel totally, and I mean totally comfortable with and difficulty, move on to the next one. Yeah, 100%. Basically, just get everything you can out of the difficulty you are enjoying. Eventually, you'll start to notice that you feel like you kind of want the combat to be a little bit more intense, and the game definitely offers that. This is a recreational activity, and it isn't meant to be stressful. So don't let some of the elite gamers, lol, who post here make you feel bad about the difficulty you're playing on. It's your game, enjoy it however you want. For the Emperor, dude, great comment. Holy cow, this is cool. But yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's interesting. They basically said themselves, they were like, at the beginning of the game, I wasn't too good, but now they're doing true solo ruthless. They're playing lethal. I have to admit, I think lethal's in a really good spot for most builds. You know what I mean? I think Absolute 2.0 definitely has a meta as well, but I think you can stretch it a little bit more in Absolute 2.0. However, Absolute 2.0 still has the RNG component where it can just send something at you that's absolutely ridiculous, and then you start to feel less less giving. You kind of want to run meta in Absolute 2.0 at that case. Like, once the game gets me mad, I kind of want to use a stronger gun is kind of my point, you know what I mean? But still, I still have a lot of fun with Absolute 2.0. I think I ran the auto bolt rifles. That's pretty much, yeah. If you have fully leveled weapons, you should be good. Most perks scale really well in Absolute. And not to mention, in Lethal and Ruthless, you also get difficulty scaling perks. They're just not as scaled as high, but it's still difficulty scaling perks. So that's cool. You still get some interaction with the difficulty in that case. Used to play lower difficulties, with Substantial being the one I would go for a challenge. However, I have been playing quite a bit, and first Substantial became my baseline, and now Ruthless has become my baseline. I'm still prestiging all classes though, on Prestige 3 for all classes, and the game will still break your ego once in a while. That being said, who you play with matters. Yeah, 100%. You can especially see it in higher difficulties how much a difference like a good teammate makes, especially in the beginning of the operation when you have the one teammate who goes down twice and then leaves the game. You can definitely tell a difference when somebody joins the game, and you can see it. You can see the enemies, especially enemy aggro in this game, can be very one-sided at times. Consider if one of your teammates go down and they were fighting a Ravener or something, that means the other teammate who was fighting the zone throw now has the possibility of a Ravener grabbing them. That can definitely start to snowball. But so yeah, 100% who you're playing with matters, and still break your ego. Yeah, there's certain points in a level that I try to point out whenever I'm playing where I'd like, oh, this part can seriously start to throw some crazy stuff at you. The one that comes to mind is the hallway right before the Hive Tyrant, right after the elevator. That hallway, for whatever reason, no matter what difficulty you are on, you can, oh man, I wish I knew the title. It was a Bulwark video, and I swear we were on either Substantial or Ruthless, and the entire hallway was covered in majors, and dude, I just could not stop laughing. It was so ridiculous. Like, yeah, honestly, sometimes some of the Substantial and Ruthless are still, like, kind of comparably difficult to the actual lower difficulties, but yeah, it is still pretty funny how Substantial and Ruthless can sometimes punch up into the lethal territory. However, for the most part, it's all about, like, being comfortable with fighting majors in Ruthless, and then extremists, getting comfortable with fighting extremists in lethal is probably a really good point to figure that out. I think siege mode, also normal siege mode, can give you a good jumping off point of understanding like movesets, because the extremist enemies will just spam their moves at you. There's like a whole bunch of them, so you'll just be able to figure that out. you'll just be able to figure out what they do in siege mode, and then in operations you can take that knowledge and then you can find a more concise encounter with them, and you'll feel a lot more comfortable knowing, oh, this is the triple swipe. And that goes a far way. That's also, I think, is comparable to Souls games. I guess somebody mentioned that earlier. I think just understanding movesets really go a far way, and that's also comparable to Souls games. But the movesets in this game are less complicated and more aggressive, I would say. Maybe the movesets in modern day Souls games can feel a little bit more heightened and and complicated, I guess. But yeah, I think overall it would be kind of weird if we had like some sort of Godfrey like Tyrannid just spawn on the map and just throw down like 8 swings one after the other. It would be kind of weird if the enemies swung so much to keep us passive all the time. But luckily in this game we have a very good defensive mechanics. Perfect dodging, parrying, all of that definitely helps out. Just protect yourself while also playing aggressive. I think that goes a far way with why the combat in this game feels really good. But yeah, so but see exactly how this person's talking about baseline Substantial into baseline Ruthless. This is a player who's definitely going to be playing Absolute soon, basically. I seek the thrill of being last brother standing. As such, I play Absolute and Hard Siege. You know what? I think this is a really good metric of when you are ready for Absolute. I've never seen anyone say this before, and I never really actually reflected on it myself. But now that I can, I do think sometimes in those last brother standing moments, that's basically like peak gameplay sometimes. It feels very thrilling. I agree that you seek the thrill of being last brother standing. However, sometimes in Absolute 2.0, that can definitely still be a little bit intimidating. Still, if you have that attitude, I think you can perform very well in Absolute if you don't mind being the last brother standing in any sort of situation. But like, you got to be confident with it as well. You can't just be like, I just want to be in that situation because I want to be terrified. It's like, okay, that doesn't get us really far here. You want to be able to be in that situation so you can complete it, or like you can beat it. You need the challenge to reaffirm how good you are at this game, or something like that. I don't really know a better way to explain it, but like when it comes down to challenges in this game, after completing the challenges, that's where it feels really good. You know what I mean? Getting through Last Brother Standing does feel really good. I guess refurb, if you're good or not at this game, really doesn't age well, because I feel like that can change on a modus on a moment's notice, because yeah, considering hard siege mode in general, no matter how good you think you are at this game can still figure out a way to completely punish you for that. But yeah, so I think this attitude that like you really want to be the last brother standing, I think that puts you in a position to play, you know, higher difficulties 100%. As far as hard siege mode goes, that's just such a time commitment right now, and yeah, we've talked about it. Nothing is more exciting in this game than either making a run to revive a fallen brother. I do like getting reses in this game. Yeah, well, in those sticky situations, 100%. It feels like you're getting reinforcements, or keeping the heretics at bay until the brother comes back. That said, I have good days and bad days. Just gotta learn from your mistakes and savor the victories. For the Emperor, for the Emperor. There's a lot of for the Emperor in these comment sections right now. But yes, this is a pretty good attitude to have for higher difficulties. And yeah, dude, honestly, when it comes to people playing Absolute, it does feel like there's a fair amount of people who are like, well, I've been playing this game for a while, so I'm playing on Absolute at the moment. It feels like there's a lot of people who are still leveling. Those are people who are definitely jumping into lower difficulties. Absolute only. I've always pretty much played the top available difficulty: Ruthless, then Lethal, then Absolute, all upon release. The first day or two involves a bit of struggle. I see where I'm falling short, then correct it. It gets way more manageable with time, but the key is improving your game sense and reflexes. If you don't try and improve, you're just going to continually make the same mistakes and get frustrated. I mean, yeah, true. You keep getting shredded by snipers. Why? Assess and correct. Move on to the next thing. The name of the game is consistently making fewer mistakes so that you don't need the stim pack. I play with randoms and we'll sit there basically pleading with each other to take the stims because we're all so comfortable in Absolute. We don't think we need them. The latest update with Terminus Plus Extremis has been throwing me a curveball. Looking at you, Neurothrope Lictor. Yeah, dude, Neurothrope is just a pain because that it spawns in with Extremis specifically. It's like, sheesh. You definitely can be put into a position to roll away directly into a Neurothrope AoE attack, but still, like, dude, this is why snipers, man, snipers can take away all of the problems, and especially thropes, man. Okay, pick apart your mistakes and correct them one by one. Zoan Neurothrope is shooting at you while a Lictor is attacking. Parry the Lictor or roll away. Every time you get downed, think about what you could have done differently and apply it. All right, sheesh, man. Sometimes you can't. It's very low, like a low chance of happening, but sometimes you can't do anything. I'm mainly thinking about those situations like with the Hive Tyrant. Like, actually, I will admit, sometimes just some anticipation to certain problems can definitely solve certain issues, but a lot of it just becomes super passive to the point where you're just like backtracking a whole bunch into the level just so you can kind of isolate an enemy. And I feel like there are situations where you can't do that, like mainly Hive Tyrant when the mobs spawn in. However, you can definitely anticipate when the mobs will spawn in, but if there's like a lonely major, sometimes that guy can throw you a counterable attack in a really awkwardly placed AoE attack from the Hive Tyrant. Break the stupid muscle memory and correct it. Okay. Honestly, though, he's right about muscle memory. That goes a far way, but that also can put you into a trap. If you guys are any sort of, like, if you pay attention, there's a lot of times where I'm going for parries on orange attacks. That's muscle memory and me being stupid, pretty much. Thriving versus dying in the higher difficulties comes down to making the right decisions at the right times and having a good loadout of character and weapon perks. Once that's all sorted, Absolute kind of becomes like clockwork, to be honest. I think Absolute is in a really good spot for meta, and I do think there's definitely moments, and they've been happening recently where Neurothrope situation happens, I'm playing Assault, and I'm out of ammo. That is terrible. However, dude, honestly, when the Neurothrope's on the ground, Assault can absolutely put in a lot of DPS, but protecting yourself, like, you don't want, again, with the Assault class, but you don't want ammo for DPS. You want ammo to refill your contested health, so you don't jump into situations with your melee attacks to just get punished more, because melee doesn't give you contested health as well. Well, I mean, still, considering the fact that heavy bolt pistol, apparently the contested health you get back for it has been, like, shadow nerfed, that, I guess, it's definitely something that came up. I still think, even with ammo, it's still better than melee attacks. Yeah, so overall, that is a situation that we're desperately trying to figure out at one point. No, seriously, the assault class is pretty good for Absolute 2.0. You just really have to be careful with your ammo. Go for gun strikes more often. You really have to spam gun strikes and slams and dodges. I play Ruthless first, then some Battle Brothers start to stick around, which is when I get to hit Lethal or Absolute. I usually match my chapter to Battle Brothers 1. It feels so good. Dude, yeah. Okay, dude, like, honestly, I wish I'd been running into more players like this. But still, like, as far as, like, sticking around after a game, I guess that's something I need to take advantage of a little bit more. But, hey, dude, honestly, it's pretty cool to see how people kind of figure it out for themselves. Like, some people are just like, hey, you know what, I'm going to jump into True Solo Ruthless and kind of see how I do there. But eventually, players start to feel very comfortable with their difficulty and start to join into other difficulties. I was definitely pretty curious to see if the Absolute changes kind of had players playing more Absolute or anything like that. And I think overall, people are still kind of sticking to what they were comfortable with before even the update. It seems like some people who were jumping into Absolute 2.0 were already people who were playing Absolute beforehand. I'm not 100% sure to see if I'm not 100% sure if anybody really jumped into Absolute 2.0 just to experience 2.0. I think we've seen maybe one person mention that. But yeah, overall, it seems like when people find a difficulty they're comfortable with, they're just gonna kind of have fun there. And then you kind of see most people jump. Like, you see some people start with Substantial, go from Ruthless to Absolute, or, you know, Lethal, obviously. But, yeah, regardless when it comes to Absolute 2.0, it didn't really seem to sway the amount of people who are playing Absolute. So that's definitely why I kind of want to jump in to these comments. But it does feel like when people are at the point where they're Prestige 4, they're going to jump into Absolute eventually. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. Did Absolute 2.0 kind of entice you to try out higher difficulties, or maybe Prestige, being Prestige 3 or 4, maybe put you into a position where you kind of felt too powerful at your current difficulty? I'm definitely pretty curious to see how people are enjoying other difficulties as well, because I will be jumping into Substantial, Ruthless, and stuff to level up Vanguard, and I'm pretty much at Prestige 3 with Assault on console. On PC, everyone's Prestige 4. I'm enjoying Absolute 2.0 quite a bit, but, you know, I've been playing the game since launch. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. Thanks for watching.